Good evening, everyone. We will begin tonight's meeting with the public hearings. These are public hearings by law that have been appropriately advertised specifically to receive input from the public concerning meeting number 1, fiscal year 24 Fayetteville City School budget, and number 2 would be the fiscal year 24 City of Fayetteville budget. Your concerns will be viewed as a serious effort on the part of the elected officials to secure as much information as possible before making a final decision. There will be no interaction with the elected officials to give you a full 3 minutes to voice your concerns. The timer on the podium will indicate your time, and we ask that you be respectful to the next speaker to give everyone equal opportunity. A sign-in sheet is in the back of the auditorium, and if you choose to speak, please sign in at this time. With that being said, we will call the public hearing for the fiscal year 24 for the Fayetteville City School budget. It is now open. Anyone to speak on the Fayetteville City School budget? Hearing none, we will close the public meeting. With that being said, we will now open the public hearing for the fiscal year 2024 for the City of Fayetteville budget. And the board will recognize at this time Mr. John Law.
Yes, I'm getting the party going, huh?
Just 1 second, let me get this started.
Do I hit this to get it going, or?
I will. There you go. Maybe not.
Well, I'll start.
Wait just a minute, John.
Speak to these folks.
John, hold on 1 second. Zach, it's not.
I wonder exactly.
Hold on, John. This one. Sorry.
Okay. We're here
okay.
to discuss. Is it working now? Okay. I need 7 more seconds. Just exactly what I feel about what's going on. I just don't even know where we got here with regard to taxes. The only thing I could point to is that the city aldermen have really mismanaged a lot of money. I'm not sure that anybody knows the amount of money that the city makes, or I should say spends, on expenses that would take care of the city. But when you look at the amount that we spend per 1,000 people, we've got 7,000 people here in the city limits, it comes out to $1,867 per 1,000. Now that doesn't sound like a lot of money until you compare it to the neighbors that we have. We're twice as expensive as Winchester. We're 3 times more expensive than Giles County. We spend more than Marshall County and Franklin County, and Franklin County was 4 times as much money. So one would ask, do they have higher taxes? Because their cities look really good. If you go to some of these towns, they look really good. They're well done, but that's not the case. If we pass this tax and the county goes along with it, we will have the 5th largest tax rate in the whole state of Tennessee. There will be 4 above us. They're all in Shelby County, Memphis, Collierville, Germantown. So when I say we had poor management in the last several years, let's take a look at it. One big chunk of money that they misspent, in my opinion, was ARPA money. That was COVID money given to the state or the cities. And it came out that they spent, instead of buying it for the fire truck that they were all so worried about and spending it for the fire truck, they spent it on a soccer field, which was $1.5 million, another $1 million across the street for lights for a city that has no ball league. And then that left no money except for about $750,000 to the other departments. So when you look at everything, you look at the parks, you look at the sidewalks, you look at the roads, where is the money going? And we don't know because they're misspending it all over the place. But I will say that this board has a really good deal of, or way of using the ing words, I call them. They're always thinking, they're always evaluating, they're always analyzing, they're always trying, they're always studying. But rarely do they use the action words like doing, completing, acting, deploying, assembling, and enforcing. We are really in a bind when it comes to when these folks come and spend money and then they come back to us on taxes. That tells me that we're in trouble. They make the mistakes, we're accountable for it. So that's all I have to say.
Next up is Mr. Steve Halberg.
I just wanted to say that my wife and I are both retired. We live on a limited income. There are many things that we would like to do, but we can't because we don't have the money to do it. And we can't go tax somebody and get more money and throw it away. There has been a lot of money wasted by you all. I understand there was a consulting company that came down from Nashville, I think, that got an absorbent amount of money to assess the square. What'd they do? Did they tell you to cut down the trees? Because it looks like hell now. It looks awful. The parks and recreation. There was somebody hurt the other day at the park out here on 64 going towards Winchester. We're paying over $300,000 a year for staff at Parks and Recreation. The park out here where the soccer field is in disarray and there's no lights. With all this money that's been spent, it's ridiculous. You guys need to reel in your pocketbooks instead of trying to drag it out of ours, because I'm at the point right now, if my taxes go up any more living in the city and getting hit by the city and the county, I'll sell my house and move. I love it here, but I will move. I'm fed up. We can't afford anymore. And I think everybody here will agree we can't afford any more taxes. I understand people got to have raises. You suggested, Mayor Hartman, to give a 3% raise. Give them a 3% raise or 5%. Don't raise our taxes 35% or 35 cents. That's ridiculous. We're not Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge, which is we have been compared to in the mysterious survey. Those people have millions of dollars in tourism coming into them. We don't have that here. Y'all need to learn how to live on what you have instead of tax us to death to frivolously spend this money. There's been a lot of things that have been, a lot of money been thrown away for naught, and it's got to stop. Thank you.
I've lost internet connection on the timer, so timekeeper will be in the back. And next up, we have Ms. Hannah Faulkner.
Good evening. Again, my name is Hannah Faulkner, and I'm here representing the Humane Society. I'm Vice President of the Board of the Humane Society and have been since last fall. I'm here to specifically discuss the Humane Society vehicle that I got involved in July of last year, and I had emails going all the way back to July asking for help regarding a specific animal control vehicle. And I hear on a weekly basis you have a brand new Sprinter van sitting in your parking lot that says Humane Society on the side of it. And I discussed this in both budget meetings, but that van was a gift to the Humane Society via a life insurance policy from someone who left that certain amount to go to the nonprofit. That vehicle has been used and is still currently being used for animal control purposes because we do not have a functional vehicle to perform animal control duties. We do have a 2009, a 14-year-old Ford F-150 that is not reliable, does not have seat belts. It is the old dog catcher truck that has no ventilation in the back, and animals have to literally be picked up and brought to face level to be put into those boxes. We have gone back and forth with city and county. We were told in January that there was a van literally sitting parked in the city garage that could be used for animal control purposes. And we have since been pushed and pushed and pushed on being allowed to use that van. And I understand wanting to wait for bids coming in the fall. And if somebody takes over, outbids us on animal control, that van can go to animal control. We are just begging at this point to please help us with a vehicle for animal control. Again, we are doing the job, we're performing the job. Our Humane Society van is being used because the truck, while it is running, is truly not a functional vehicle for animal control. So we are at a point where we are literally begging for help with the animal control vehicle at this point. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, and I'm not sure about the last name, Nolan Williamson. Sorry.
My name is Kay Williamson. I'm a citizen of Fayetteville, and I am the grandmother of the child that got injured in the kids' park last week. I'm here with these pictures. This is the picture of the slide that my granddaughter put her foot through, the plastic slide at the kids' park. I want to know why the kids' park remains open. This is another picture at the kids' park. This is right where my granddaughter went down, right before she went down the slide. I want to know why the city continues to leave this park open so that grandchildren and children of this community are getting hurt in our city kids' park. It's called a kids' park because it's supposed to be safe. That park is nowhere near safe. Next, again, more pictures. There's sharp edges, broken things all over this park. This is supposed to be a safe place, not a harmful place for our kids. I'm asking the city to budget in, get the kids' park fixed, and until then, it needs to be closed. You can't tell me that another child's not going to get hurt on this same stuff. Somebody running through. These kids don't have somebody out there really watching them. They're playing tag. My granddaughter's 8 years old. She's this tall and weighs 50 pounds. Imagine hearing her screaming with her foot stuck in the slide for over 3 or 4 minutes while me and another mother was trying to get her out. She told the other lady to call 911. I'm very upset because I take my kids to that park 3 to 4 times a week. It's right down from my office. I've never had an issue with the city. I don't have any troubles. I just want the park maintained. There's no reason any child in this city should get hurt at our city park, where they should feel safe. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Ben Smith.
Thank you for allowing me to stand in front of you and voice my concerns, and really just wanted to give you a piece of my mind. From an early age, my father used to always tell me foolish names and foolish faces always showed up at the foolish times and places. And I think there's been no more evident truth of that than the past few weeks, what's been spread on social media about our city leaders, about other citizens, and some of it from even past leaders. But I know nobody cares what my dad told me, but I just want to remind everybody what our Father has told us. Matthew 12:36, on the day of judgment, people will give an account for every careless word that they speak, and that was said by Jesus. Colossians 3:17, whatever you do in word or deed, do everything in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ and give thanks to the Father. Now I know this isn't a church, and in this day and time, what God thinks is not really thought much upon, and that's a whole nother story, but maybe I can water it down. Everything we do should not be for our own personal gain. It should be for the betterment of our neighbors, for the ones sitting beside us, and sitting in this setting, it should be for the betterment of our city. And I think too many people have their own personal pride ahead of their neighbors. And too many people have been pointing fingers at you all whenever, if they really think about it, even if they have a disagreement with you or have, a legitimate complaint with one of you, they need to sit down and think that their neighbor might have voted for you or their family member might have. We need to remember that we're all a family here, and that's what makes Fayetteville City so special. City leaders, thank you for taking your time away from your families to come here and do this hard job that many of us don't want any part of. So thank you for doing that, and I just ask you to do what's best for the city of Fayetteville, your neighbors, and our kids to come, because that's what all matters.
Next up is Doug Deal.
I'd like to thank you again for this opportunity, and of course it's always hard to follow and act like that. We're supposed to be gracious, which puts me in a hard spot, but joking. You might be able to tell by my accent I'm not a native Tennessean. Born and bred in Wisconsin. I spent most of my life out west. And we moved here to be close to my son, who always wanted to live in this part of the country, medically retired from the Army from wounds in Iraq. So he's our wounded warrior that we want to be closer to be able to help out. So we chose this town in this area. We love the country. We love the people here. But I got to say, if we do the same things that occur in other parts of the country that create bad situations, we will create the same situation. I could go through dozens of cities throughout this country that have gone high taxes, high bureaucracy, high spending, and here's the interesting part, they never in 60 years have solved any of their problems. They don't seem to ever solve the problems. And so the problems go on, the budgets go in, you have Baltimore, Chicago, St. Louis, you have Memphis. All of them have high capital expenditures, high taxation. People tend, like me, instead of moving in, I'm looking around, my taxes are far higher than they were in Arizona. And our facilities, our city facilities in a small town outside of Phoenix, were phenomenal. And we had good public services. So I'm not saying everything is wrong. What I'm saying is high taxes and high expenditures don't solve everything. As a matter of fact, you'll see a lot of times they'll say, oh, we need more money for the public schools. Then you find out 8 or 9 out of the hires are all bureaucratic people. And you get 1 teacher and you get 8 bureaucrats. Same thing in the police. I love my police. But if they're sitting in the office and they're not on the road, you can hire 10,000 of those people and it won't improve a darn thing. And then we say we can't pay the teacher. Well, of course not, because we're paying for all the bureaucrats. And I have seen this happen many times over the last 50 years of my life when I moved to different places. And I'm just guaranteeing everybody, you don't solve all the problems. This is some of the highest. My property taxes on a house twice this size was half as much as I'm paying here. It ain't magic, it's math. And if you hire and spend like you do in other places, you will get the same results. And you will also get unfunded liabilities that will break you know, everybody know unfunded liabilities, you just pay more and more, hire more people, and then suddenly you're spending 70-80% of your budget for retirement programs. And you can't afford it. And the plumber and the ditch digger and the retirees are gonna be the people that have to try to pay for it.
Sir, I think your time is up.
Okay, thank you very much.
Next up is Fletcher Smith. There should be a timer there in front of you, Mr. Smith.
I see it.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Okay. I would like to first start off by agreeing with Mr. John Law. I think the concern is how we got here. The problem is we are here, okay? And I want to say this about this current board. They had nothing to do with this. If you guys go back and watch the numbers, we've been getting to this point since 2010. I've spoken to everybody neglected what I said. So I'm going to go through some things. In 2014, actual property rate of property taxes were 2.5 million. 2017, it was 2.6 million. 2020, 2.8 million. And these are, this is how we get our money, okay? So that hasn't gone up really over this time period from 14 to 2020. Sales tax has gone from 1.7 to 2.5 to 2.6. Now, what I want to tell you guys is salaries went from 2014 to 380,000, 2017 to 461,000, 2020 650,000, $200,000 jump. Health insurance benefits went from 39,000 to 59,000 to 95,000. Okay, I want to tell you that I've lived in three of the cities that Mr. Law was talking about: Germantown, Bartlett, and Cordova. Okay, so I do understand that, those cities, and I understand what's going on in those cities. I also agree that the past boards have had a lack of civic responsibility. I want to apologize to the city because I already talked to Mr. Law. For those of you who think that me and Mr. John Law have an issue, okay, the one word that he missed was blaming. And that's the problem right now. Everybody wants to blame everybody instead of deal with the problem. Mrs. Faulkner, I'm 110% agreement with what you said about the Humane Society. I helped build Olive Branch, South Haven, G-Town, and Fort Smith, Arkansas Humane Societies. Easy to do. I've shared ideas. Nobody thinks my ideas are worth a flip. We need responsible controls. I agree with Mr. Ben Smith. Awesome scriptures. Doug Dale, I agree with you. Mayor, I want to tell you, I commend you because I don't believe anybody else is able to come into the present situation and fix it. And we as the citizens, we have to decide whether we're going to keep the blaming or we're going to fix it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Lori Stonebreaker.
I only have 8 seconds.
He'll reset that for you. You have 3.
Okay, well, I appreciate everything y'all said because my hat's off to you. I think this town is divided, and it's divided because we have a county and we have a city. And I live in the city, but yet I pay county taxes. I'm only getting retirement from my deceased husband, and I'm a widow living on a low income. And I can't see having to pay both. I don't know why you guys can't get together and have one mayor, one of everything. Why do we have to have 2 of everything? I believe in having a sheriff's department for the county and the police for the city. I have no problem with that. That's what we did where I came from, but I never paid both city and county. It's highway robbery. Thank you. And I don't know how you guys can solve this problem, except that the people living in the city should only pay city tax, and the people in the county should only pay county tax. That way, if you want to raise your city tax, and I live in the city, by all means, raise the damn stuff. If I lived in the county and you were charging city, I would be just as outraged as I am right now. And that's all I have to say. I just hope you take it into consideration what you're doing to the people of Fayetteville, Tennessee. Whether it's county or city, you got to stop dividing us. Thank you.
Thank you. Next to speak, Pamela Thames.
Good evening. We're relatively new here, a couple of years now, came from Arizona. And I got a really stupid question for all of you. How is it you can rationalize putting in lighting at Don Davidson Park to the tune of 1.7 million? That's the last I heard. Could be wrong. It's not awful lot. Meanwhile, our essential services, our police, our fire workers, our maintenance people, the people who take care of the parks, all our recreation centers, our animal shelter, completely unserviced. It is an embarrassment to live in this town. How does that happen that you could spend the money on that and not spend the money where we really, really need it? It just defies all logic, and I got two words for you: greater good. That's what you're in office for, the greater good. Thank you.
That completes the list for tonight for the folks that have signed up to speak. At this time, we will close the public hearing, and we're going to take a 10-minute break. I would like to call to order the Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting, regular meeting, June 13th, 2023. I'm going to ask Vice Mayor Danny Bryant to say the prayer, and then we'll stand and say the pledge. Please stand.
Let's pray. Lord, we thank you for this time to come and do the city's business. God, just pray you be with each one of us, Lord, that you'd use us in the ways that we should be used. Lord, we thank you very much for that. We live in a country that people can voice their opinions. God, we just pray that you be with each one here tonight. Anybody here tonight that might be in need of prayer, God, just pray that you take into consideration. Lord, we just really, really thank you for our employees. We just thank you for the ones that goes out and does the work, the ones that makes everything work here in the city. As we move forward with this meeting, we just pray you be with each one. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first order of business is to adopt the agenda for tonight. Are there any corrections, deletions, or additions? Hearing none, the agenda will stand. In your package, you have the minutes for the regular meeting, May the 9th, 2023. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, those minutes will stand as written. Number 6, we have oath of office for 3 firefighters tonight. And if we can at this time, if those firefighters will come forward along with their chief. Where you can just come here and stand and face the audience. If you want to get up there, Ron, tell you. Okay, if you will, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, state your name, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution
of the United States of America
of the United States of America
and that of the state of Tennessee,
and that of the state of Tennessee,
that I will obey the laws and ordinances
that I will obey the laws and ordinances
of the city of Fayetteville,
of the city of Fayetteville,
that I will protect the life and property of its citizens,
that I will protect the life and property of its citizens,
and that I will familiarize myself with
and that I will familiarize myself with
and be obedient to the rules and regulations,
and be obedient to the rules and regulations,
and will faithfully serve the city of Fayetteville
and will faithfully serve the city of Fayetteville
in the discharge of my duties
in the discharge of my duties
as a member of the Fayetteville Fire Department
as a member of the Fayetteville Fire Department
to the best of my knowledge and ability, so help me God.
to the best of my knowledge and ability, so help me God.
Okay, thank you. Thank you and welcome, firemen. We're glad to have you. Next is recognition of presentation of awards, Chief Barrett Pendergraft.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the good part of my job. I get to recognize the good work that these fine officers do. I worked for Huntsville, I've worked for Gurley, I've worked with dozens of police departments. I've not found a finer group of officers than you have here in Fayetteville. These guys are dedicated, they work hard, and they want to serve you, and I think they do an outstanding job. The first awards I'd like to give out today, call Mr. Ben Jennings up. We all know Mr. Bill Hopkins, our school superintendent that's recently retired. Bill has done an outstanding job. He has an outstanding working relationship with the police department. He was instrumental in getting our school resource officer program into the schools. He's done an outstanding job. Ben worked for the Huntsville Police Department. He's retired. I've known Ben for years. And after I got hired, Ben asked if he could come do a ride along with our officers. While he was riding, he asked them, what's one thing that you guys would like to have that you don't? And they told him they'd like to have a workout facility, somewhere where they could go and lift weights, work an exercise bicycle, a treadmill. Ben took it upon himself to go out and find all the necessary equipment to set this facility up. He asked me, if I find the equipment, will you find a room to put it in and let these guys work? And I gladly did so. We have a treadmill, we have an exercise bike, we have an elliptical machine, we have a squat rack, we have weight benches. He even got them a stereo to listen to while they work out. So for Ben and Mr. Hopkins, I have a certificate that says, from the Fayetteville Police Department, know ye by all present that Benjamin Jennings and Bill Hopkins have been duly appointed as honorary police officers for the city of Fayetteville, Tennessee, and is entitled to all the rights and privileges afforded such a position. Congratulations. Welcome to the Fayetteville Police Department.
Can I ask one question, Chief?
Yes.
Would you read the narrative of the certificate one more time?
You are entitled to all the rights and privileges afforded such a position.
What rights and privileges do I now have that I did not have 5 minutes ago?
Absolutely none.
Thank you anyway, sir.
Next, I'd like to call Officer Jeremy Miller, Officer Preston Cantrell to the front.
On April 20th, Preston officers Cantrell and Miller were dispatched to the river bridge in reference to a suspicious suspect. Upon their arrival, they encountered a male standing with his hands on the fence rail, acting as if he was going to jump. The officers initiated a conversation with him, found he was depressed over the death of a loved one and a recent financial hardship. He was on the bridge to end his life. Officers utilized excellent de-escalation techniques and compassion and were able to talk this man off the bridge. They then transported him to the hospital where he could receive the proper care. These officers' efforts were outstanding. They showed professionalism, compassion, empathy to one of our citizens and guided the care he needed to survive to this day. I'm proud to present these officers certificates of commendation. This time I'd like to call Officer Dalton Henderson, Commander Kobe Templeton, Commander Jesse Cassas. Early this year I was approached by Officer Dalton Henderson, who he advised he wished to reestablish the Explorer program for the Fayetteville Police Department. He explained the Explorer program to me. He explained what he needed to get started, and I said go, and boy did he go. He set this thing up in record time. We now have 6 Explorers that are in training, again, in record time. One of my initiatives was to get the community as a whole involved in the Fayetteville Police Department. This program does that. This brings kids in that we can train, get them interested in the field. It's going to be our future police officers. Huntsville has something that's similar called the Ranger program. Ben was a Ranger, I was a Ranger. 5 of the last 7 police chiefs in Huntsville were Rangers. Outstanding program. Outstanding program. Outstanding job. One of the other community relations programs that I wanted to establish was the Community Watch program. I held an initial Community Watch meeting, which we had a nice turnout for. Commander Cassas attended that meeting. After the meeting, he approached me and said, I want this. I want this to be my program, and I want to make it successful. We now have several Community Watch programs in the works. We have signs up in at least one neighborhood so far. You may have seen that on our Facebook page. An outstanding, outstanding job. Congratulations, Commander. Commander Templeton. The state came out with a grant to help purchase equipment to reduce crime. I called Kobe in and asked him if he'd ever done a grant. He said he hadn't. If he had them, he wouldn't have volunteered to do it. They are a nightmare, a nightmare. Kobe took this mission. As a result of his hard work and his dedication, we received $136,000 that we're going to utilize for body cameras for our officers in the field. Congratulations. Now let me read this to you guys. I should have done that first. This is a meritorious service award presented to Kobe Templeton in recognition for exceptional service of critical importance to the Fayetteville Police Department. The policy I wrote on awards and commendation has 12 steps. This is number 5 on the list. To show you how important this is, even though it's 5th on the list, the only thing that outweighs this is a Medal of Honor, a Medal of Valor, a Purple Heart, or a life-saving medal. This is a big deal. This is a big deal. And I should have given you those, guys. These are ribbons to wear on your uniform. You've earned them. Wear them proudly.
Thank you, Chief. That says a lot for our officers and also for our chief. Moving on to our standing committee reports. First up is Chief Tony Kimbrough.
Thank you, Mayor. For the month of May, the Fayetteville Fire Department responded to 96 calls of service that include 4 fires, 75 EMS runs, and 1 water rescue on the river. That'd be my report.
Thank you. Next is Chief Barry Pendergraft, Police Department.
Thank you, Mayor. For the month of May, Fayetteville Police Department responded to 1,346 calls for service. We made 81 arrests for 92 charges. We issued 95 traffic citations for 130 offenses. We had 51 traffic accidents, 12 of those with injuries. So that is something that we're working hard to address. People got the springtime fever, I guess, so we're going to try to work on those. That's my report.
Thank you, Chief. Next is the Finance Department Director Jamie Owen.
Okay, local option sales tax for the current month, we have received in $329,025. Year over year, we are at a $262,233 increase, and we're at 94.56% of our budget. Local option sales tax for the current month is at $14,416, and year over year we have received in a $32,359 increase. We're at 106% of our $160,000 budget. And for property tax for the current month, we've received in $18,738. And year over year, we have received in a positive $135,371, and we're at 92.10% of our budget for property tax.
Recreation Department Director Brian Carter.
As of today, at Don Davidson Park, our electrical work is complete. The electricity has been turned on, the inspector came in and has approved that work. Lee parking lot, we have bought the drainage pipe for that project, and we're coordinating with street department, and hopefully within the next week or two, we'll have that completed. Our fireworks display will be on Saturday, June the 1st at 2023, starting approximately 8 p.m. And
July.
I'm sorry, July. Forgive me for that, I'm sorry. And our spring sports, everything has, our baseball and our spring sports, our soccer leagues are complete. We'd like to thank everyone for participating in those. Our fishing rodeo was a success. We would like to thank Walmart, the Tennessee Wildlife Foundation, the Elks Lodge, Regis Bank, Gerald's Foodland, Save-A-Lot, DFW, Fayetteville Fire Department, and the Fayetteville Police Department for making that a success. And that is my report.
Thank you, sir. Again, that fireworks display, that's July the 1st, Don Davidson Park at approximately 8 p.m. And we'll move now to the Public Works Department. Director Plunkett.
Thank you, Mayor. Last month we had 270 ton of trash, 171 ton of brush, and we have 3 openings at the street department. If you know anybody that needs a job, tell them come apply. That's my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Planning and Codes, Christy Gentry.
Thank you, Mayor. 15 permits were issued in May. The total project valuation was $389,998. The total permit fees were $3,361.40. 6 residential new construction projects were awarded their certificate of occupancies, and several new businesses are also in the process of getting their certificate of occupancies. These will include several new businesses to the downtown square, which is a chiropractor office, a new Mexican restaurant, and a new antique store. We also had the grand opening of Dunkin' Donuts today on Huntsville Highway. 57 property maintenance violations were written in May. We are in the process of doing 2 court hearings and 7 condemnations. Attorney Hill is working with us on this process. During the May Planning Commission meeting, Mr. Jim Donaldson was elected as chairman. He will fulfill the remainder of Eric Jones' chairman term through September until we hold regular officer elections. A minor plat titled East Huntsville Highway Subdivision was approved. This carved off half an acre on Huntsville Highway, and that was located in the urban growth boundary. A revised site plan for the new D&M Market on Winchester Highway was approved. On the home grant, the contractors are halfway through the project at 509 Cherokee Avenue, and work will be starting on the other 3 projects very soon. All paperwork has been processed for them to begin. The ADA plan work has started here at the municipal building on the high priority ADA projects. We removed 8 chairs from the auditorium to allow for wheelchair parking and added signage to the floor. Braille signage is also being placed throughout the halls to identify rooms and departments. The CGI video update footage was shot on May 24th and 25th. A detailed shot list was thoroughly planned out by the team leaders of the project, which included Michelle Mitchell, Brian Carter, and myself. We visited over 50 locations in the city limits in Lincoln County. The 6 videos are expected to be completed within the next month, and we will be showcasing them on our website and social media pages. Lastly, I want to talk about the Community Cleanup Day we have this Saturday, June 17th. We will meet at the old hospital on Maple Street West and divide into teams to the surrounding streets and neighborhoods. We will be cleaning the streets and right-of-ways. No public property will be cleaned. We will be wrapping up the cleanup around 11 a.m. and have lunch that will be provided by Kit Quick Company. This company also donated the money for the volunteer t-shirts, and Mr. Owens has an example of that. We also want to thank Mr. Pluckett. He's going to provide us with a few members from his team to help us haul away the garbage we collect. And this program was started by our property maintenance inspector, and Tony and Tanya Knott have been great spokespeople for this project, and we hope to do more projects throughout this summer. And that's my report.
Thank you. Last in the department reports is City Administrator's report.
Good evening, Mayor and Board of Aldermen. Before I start with my report, I do want to make mention that Jill as well as Christy, they do have shirts for each of the board members, so see them about your sizes. I think Christy has them available, and we have them out to the board members before Saturday. But as far as my report, you have my previous month report, but I do want to announce a couple of things that are coming up for the board's attention. We do have the sidewalk bid out. We have a couple of important dates. We will have a pre-bid meeting here at the municipal building, and that would be held on June 30th, Friday, June 30th. The bid opening will be on July 11th. So that would be the same day of the board meeting, so hopefully we'll have the announcement of the winning bidder then. We're also in the process of applying for the multimodal asset grant, which we hope to put sidewalks into that grant. We are beginning to call out state legislators as well as other representatives to see can we get some support, because we think that would be a good complement to what we're trying to do around the sidewalk square. The third thing I want to report, we did receive a full grant for our traffic signal
and that's gonna give us 4 infrastructures on traffic. And thank you, Alderwoman Small, because I did pass that along as well. But we're trying to get that started sometime in July, so hopefully we'll have the initial report when I come back to the board in the month of July. And my final thing I do want to report is that I did have a long meeting on Friday with the new director of the Humane Society concerning what was going on with operations, and we are making great advancement with the building. We are hoping to close out with that within the next week. They're having a fundraiser, I think, this weekend, but they're expecting to do the final inspection on next Monday, so that project with the lighting should be closed out by this time next week. And that concludes my report unless there's questions.
I do have one item. The van was mentioned, and we've talked about that van in some committee meetings.
Correct.
That's really not being used.
Right.
Where are we on that van?
So we talked about the van. As a matter of fact, I actually had a conversation today. The biggest issue is that if the van is in our name, in the city's name, our insurance provider would not cover the van. It would have to be either gifted or somehow written out to them for it to be covered.
Well, would there be an issue with doing that?
We're looking at that as well as, and I'm also looking at some leasing possibilities that we can cover in the next few months, but we're trying to bring in a possibility to you all, but we do have an option to do that.
So we think we can take care of that in a timely manner?
We can. It would take a few accounting things to transfer the books, but we can.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Would it be cheaper to rent a van? Because like you say, unless we sell that van to the animal shelter, or we can't loan our insurance. So unless the vehicle is in their name, they can't get insurance on it. Is that correct?
We cannot cover insurance primarily. Bottom line is the provider came for anybody outside of an employee of ours. So we can't cover insurance, so we would have to find some way to write it off to them if they were to use it.
As a gift.
I'm sorry.
We can gift it. That's what we were talking about last time.
Yeah.
If we gift it, they already, and I think Cindy's already said that they would give it back if something was to change.
Yes, we would have to do some transfer them from our, wherever the legal.
That's what I'd like to see move as soon as we can, just so we can, if we can gift it to them, they can carry the insurance, that would relieve us from liability.
I concur on that. I think that would probably be a very good idea if we could gift it to them, and then they have something that they can actually take care of the animals that they need to take care of with right now. I think that would be something suitable for, it would help them, it'd help us, and it would get something out of our parking garage that we can park somebody else there. So, that's just my thinking. So.
I know at the last meeting, it was voted that the majority was not for that until we bid out the services. Is that a change?
That's where I'm at.
I wanted to see move forward before, just
I'd like
so
to
they can
wait.
have something to give, yeah.
Because that truck is just a quote-unquote a ticking time bomb.
It starts when they don't start the next.
Okay, we would need a motion to do that. If you're ready at this time, Mr. Owens, or would you rather have some time and then bring it back to us to vote in July? But we would
If
have
the
to
board
vote.
desire to do a motion, at least to move the process, I can work something out in the next week. I do need to still talk with legal and insurance as far as the process, but I can be working, it just depends on whatever the board decides.
I'm for getting it done as quick as we can, but I think it'd be better to wait till next month, because it's not been to the work session in a proper way yet. You don't have all the information right now.
Right.
But I would hope that soon, even if it's after it's bid out, if that's what we need to do, that we'd get to the point where we can do that if everything works out.
Okay. So the next work session is July 6th. You want me to have the full recommendation by that time?
I think that'd be a good idea. I do. Don't you? I think it'd be a good idea.
I would like to move forward as soon as we can, but if it is what it is right now, I'm sure they'll be grateful to get what they can as soon as they can.
Okay, we'll move on with that. At this time, there's no unfinished business, and we will begin on our new business. And the first item is recertification of the zoning map. You have in your package a photograph of the most updated map of the city of Fayetteville. Since the last time that this map was recertified, there have been 5 changes, and these 5 changes are through ordinances, and they are attached in your package. And I would just need a motion to accept this new city map with the changes.
I move that we accept the recertification of the zoning map.
Second. I have a motion by Alderman Bryant, second by Alderman Alder. Any discussion? Can we call the roll?
Mr. Alder?
Aye.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Painter?
Aye.
Ms. Small?
Aye. Motion carries. Item B is the Fayetteville City Schools FY23 Budget Amendment Number 4. This is just basic bookkeeping, getting close to the end of the year. Do I have a motion for this amendment?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Alderman Alder, second.
Second.
Second by Alderman Small. Any discussion? Vote please.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Painter?
Aye.
Ms. Small?
Aye.
Mr. Alder?
Aye.
Item C, this also is a FY23 Budget Amendment Number 5 for the Fayetteville City Schools. Again, this is general purposes. Do I have a motion for this amendment?
So moved.
Second.
Alderman Small with the first motion and Alderman Martinez with the second. Any discussion?
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Painter?
Aye.
Ms. Small?
Aye.
Mr. Alder?
Aye.
Ms. Allen?
Aye. Motion carries. Item D, approve the FY24 annual budget and tax rate. You have in your package a copy of the summary of the expenditures, the revenue, the budget package that has been prepared. This also has the payroll that was option number 3 from the spreadsheet that the finance director sent out yesterday. This includes correcting the fire department's hourly employees' pay. The new hourly certified straight off the street hire would be $12.84. After the certifications are received, the pay would go up to $14.14 per hour. That is an annual salary of $40,073. This compares to the police officer's annual salary within just a few dollars. Everyone else is to receive a 6.5% salary increase, with the exception of planning and codes director. That is to move up to correct the scale per previous conversations. This budget paperwork also includes a 35-cent tax increase added to the current tax of $1.50. The city tax will go to $1.85. I did have one question and discussion. Let me get a motion and then I'll do that discussion. Do I have a motion for this budget?
So move, Mayor.
Second. I have a motion by Alderman Bryant, second by Alderman Allen. Any discussion?
I would like to see discussion. We need to talk about option 4.
And I don't think we have that in the package here tonight. Is that correct, Jamie?
So we agreed on option 3.
I don't think we've discussed anything other than option 1.
Option 1, yeah.
That's the only thing that's the only thing we've met over is option 1.
And then we got 2, 3, and 4, and during our we got 2, 3, and 4 other than now. hadn't been able to discuss that just yet, all of us here.
Yeah, I made my motion based on just doing my homework from stuff I received after work session. We met last Monday. I thought we came out with an agreement. We met Thursday. I still thought we were with that same agreement. Over the weekend, I got additional information, but I am okay with the one that I made the motion on, which was option 3.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve this annual budget and tax rate?
And I seconded it.
We done.
Oh, okay, so we,
I would still like to kind of discuss a little bit more. I know, ladies and gentlemen, I know all of you have voiced your concerns, and we got a good little communication from everyone. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, this is something that is a difficult decision, not only for us, but I mean, it's a difficult decision for everyone. I see these fire department and these police department here, and also some of our public works people that are here as well. You know, doing the things that these people do, it's a tiring job. I know, as a matter of fact, I was out on a couple calls last night with matter of fact, some of these gentlemen right here, and we're up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning doing the things that, again, some people just don't want to do, they don't want to see, especially even with the public works. They're getting out at 2 o'clock in the morning and picking up trash, picking up household materials, picking up garbage, doing the jobs that we ultimately don't want to do. Now, this is a double-edged sword for all of us here on this board, and I hope I don't walk over my time if I have a time. But we have all worked very diligently trying to come down to where these people can get a good starting rate for the job that they do, even coming off the street and helping those that have been in the job for numerous years. Now again, this is a double-edged sword. If we're helping these people, then we're helping these people. People sometimes, maybe they deserve it, maybe they don't deserve it. Well, that's not my decision to make. That's ultimately, you know, all our decisions to make. And working as hard as we have, you know, I'm looking at option 4 here, and I know Ms. Allen made the motion for option 3, and I see this other option here. Can we go? Because there's a possibility that we could even talk about option 4, and maybe I would like to, you know, make a motion to go over option 4 before we move on to come into a complete agreement on option 3, and that's just my opinion.
First, I think we got to bid it and
we
bring it
can't
up.
do that because the motion is for option 3 and the budget as written, and so you could vote. We'll have to vote on it. If you are not in agreement with it, then you would vote against this. But the vote is option 3 and the property tax.
Okay.
And I'd like to say something about this motion, because I wasn't really sure where I was going to stand, because I was happy with where we were last week. But looking at this, I'm happy with the revised pay scale for the fire department. I think it's great for them, and I also think it benefits the majority of employees as far as raises across the board.
That's the way I feel too, exactly. So I'm with you.
I concur. It's fair. We work hard on this.
I do have one discussion that I would like to bring attention to the board, and we discussed this in the last budget hearing. There were 2 positions that their adjustments were requested for. One of those have been granted, but the other one has not, and I feel like that we have not treated this employee fairly. This employee began working for us in May of 2019. A short period of time after he started, he took over as interim IT director, and our personnel policy clearly states that once you are trained and you assume that responsibility and those duties, that you will receive that pay. And to date, that employee has not received steps and pay. He has completed the certifications that were requested of him, except for one. That is what he is lacking, that he has been told, don't worry about that one, because a lot of this computer certifications, they time out And that's the only thing that's holding him back. And I feel like that we have overlooked him, and he has been the director over that department for quite some time now. So I would like to see us go back and add him into this budget and take care of him just like we're taking care of the other employee. Any other?
I would ask that, because I don't know much about this, I would ask that the city administrator do a review of that situation to where we've got proper information on why not. And let's get a review done and come back next month with it.
Yeah.
Okay? So we'll all know what's going on, because I don't know much about this. And I think we need to definitely have a review of that. I believe that'd be the best way to handle that.
And if you will, look at the payroll sheet and look at the pay that this position gets. You will not be able to hire an IT director for what this employee is being paid. And he has not been treated fairly. That is not what it said in his contract when he took this position. And so I just hope that y'all will really look at this and consider this employee being treated fairly.
I would like to see that done within the next month.
Okay.
I would, well, now is this with the option 3 that we have in front of us? Okay.
With option 3, there's no increase or adjustment for him in this, other than the 6.5% what everybody else is going to get.
Okay. Let's get a review done and get a report back next month. Be my suggestion.
Okay. So any other discussion on this approving the budget and the tax rate? If not, Pam, will you call the roll?
Mr. Martinez?
No.
Mr. Painter?
No.
Ms. Small?
No.
Mr. Alder?
Aye.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
No.
3-3.
Moving on to item E, this is ordinance 20.
Excuse me just a minute.
Yes.
How many ayes do we have? How many noes?
We had 3
What?
ayes, 4 noes.
Okay. No, you can't do that. You can't have 6 votes.
It's a
It was a
tie.
tie,
It was a
3-3.
tie. Okay, I
Yeah.
got you. All right.
Can we make a
Business,
motion
how about
now to bring back?
Okay, item E.
Excuse me, Madam. Can,
Wait just a minute. Let me just. Okay, I want to be sure the vote is clarified. What'd you vote?
I voted no.
Okay, no. Okay, I got you. I got it.
all right. Now that that's been voted no, can a motion be brought up for number 4, option 4?
Option 4.
I don't even have
I think we would have to go back into a
I don't
special
have
session
4
and-
anyway.
And
I don't have anything on
rediscuss
that.
that because they do not have all the information.
I don't have anything on that.
And we'll have time to set that, so. Any other discussion? Okay, item E, this is ordinance 2023-07. This is process for public comment. The State General Assembly has set out a law that in the future, beginning July the 1st, that the public will have the opportunity to speak at the beginning of every meeting. And on that, what the public speaks to has to be related to an item on the agenda. It can't be about your feelings as far as the price of eggs if it's not on the agenda. So if it's on the agenda, you're welcome to speak, and we will have a time. You will have 3 minutes to speak, I believe. 2 minutes, I'm sorry. 2 minutes to speak before each meeting. So do I have a motion to accept this ordinance 2023-07?
So moved, Mayor.
Second.
A motion by Alderman Bryant, second by Alderman Allen. Any discussion? Pam?
Mr. Painter?
Aye.
Ms. Small?
Aye.
Mr. Alder?
Aye.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item F, this is a joint industrial board appointment. The city appointee, this is done by the industrial board of the mayor and alderman, and the city appointee will be Mr. Dale Pierce.
Correction, Mayor.
I'm sorry.
Oversight Committee. IDB Oversight.
Oh, Industrial Oversight Committee will be Dale Pierce, and the county appointee will be Mike Lane. We'll have to vote for those separately. So item F, do I have a motion for Dale Pierce?
So moved, Mayor. Second.
Okay, first by Alderman Small, second then by Alderman Bryant. Any discussion? Vote please.
Ms. Small?
Aye.
Mr. Alder?
Aye.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Painter?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item G, this is for the Industrial Oversight Committee. They are appointing, the county side is appointing Mike Lane. All the committee members have to agree to this, so we will need a motion for this appointment.
So moved.
Motion
Second.
by Alderman Small, second by Alderman Allen. Any question? Ma'am?
Mr. Alder?
Aye.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Painter?
Aye.
Ms. Small?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item H, this is a event permit for the Fayetteville United Methodist Church. This was for the Bible school, Vacation Bible School. That happened this past weekend, but as a matter of paperwork, we'll still need to vote on this event. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Alder. Second.
Second.
Second by Alderman Martinez. Any discussion? Can we call the vote?
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Painter?
Aye.
Ms. Small?
Aye.
Mr. Alder?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item I, this is for the Guap Life's Community Kickoff Event. This is July the 1st, and this will be at the, I believe it's Stonebridge Park, 3 o'clock to 7:30. Do I have a motion for this event?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Alderman Allen. Second.
Second.
Second by Alderman Alder. Is there any discussion? Vote please.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Painter?
Aye.
Ms. Small?
Aye.
Mr. Alder?
Aye.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item J, the Independence Day Festival event permit. This is July the 1st. This will be at Don Davidson Park, approximately 8 p.m. The festival states a start time of 6 p.m. to get set up, and about dusk dark it will start and hopefully end by 10 o'clock. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Alderman Painter with a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Allen. Any discussion? Can we call the roll?
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Painter?
Aye.
Ms. Small?
Aye.
Mr. Alder?
Aye.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item K, this is farm to table event permit. This is September the 30th, 2023. This is an annual event by the Young Farmers and Ranchers. They will host this on the inside perimeter of the square. Do I have a motion for this event?
Before we take the motion, Mayor, I have a question. Where are these tickets available, and are they available to the public?
They are available to the public,
And they're available through?
the Young Ranchers and Farmers.
You have the price on the tickets?
Let's see, I don't think they have that on this permit.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
And also the State Farm Office, they are affiliate of that. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Mayor.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Bryant, second by Alderman Painter. Any further discussion? Vote please.
Mr. Payne?
Aye.
Ms. Small?
Aye.
Mr. Alder?
Aye.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
This concludes our business.
Can I ask one question? Since we did not approve the budget for tonight, can we consider having a work session and another call meeting before the end of the month so we can at least attempt to have an approved budget before the start of the new fiscal year? I think that would be pretty much what the controller office would want us to try to at least have one before July 1st, if possible.
I think that's a good idea. Anything, do you want to send out an email and kind of get a date of what's best for everyone, or?
I think we're all willing to accept, anything that you all feel. I know everybody has varying schedules, but whatever the board feels the best days, I know.
Why don't you just get an extension from state comptroller? This is, can we get an extension?
Request.
I think that would be a good idea. I mean, I think it would help everything.
So we would have to have 3 days notice for the first meeting, and then we would have to we'd have to call a meeting to vote. How many days notice would we have to have on that?
I think, did we work out possibly dates for?
We typically give at least 3 days notice.
Okay, on both, even if we're voting, okay.
It'll be tight.
If it was if it passed to do a special call on June the 26th, that's a Monday, will that give us enough time to get the notice out and then a notice on the vote?
I know we have at least one confirmed alderman that would not be able to be present that day.
What date will we have to get this done to get it in, Jamie?
Well, we just need a vote
Before
before July 1st.
July 1st?
That's not gonna work.
We're just gonna have to, I don't know. I can make whenever work.
Let's meet this 3-day notice will be Saturday.
Mr. Owens, will you work on that tomorrow and go back on the time so we'll have enough time to post the vote, enough time to post the meeting, and see if we can get enough for a quorum there? We'll have to do what we
And
have
then
to
just for
do.
the special meeting, or do you want a work session in that equation?
We're going to have a work session because we're going to have to discuss this.
Could we discuss and vote all in the same meeting? I don't know.
It'd be hard.
Okay.
Because they would have
Be
to
very
go
hard.
back, the finance department would have to go back and
Yeah.
provide documentation and everything.
So how many more options does she need to bring to this first work session? I mean, we have 3 in front of us.
Well, you won't
I'd
have
say
to.
we've got to get a date and come to the work session and just talk it out with the,
Okay, well, I just don't think we can keep having her go back and make new proposals every other day. I think that's unacceptable of us to do.
what were you going to say, Danny?
I'm okay with bringing this
I can
same
work it out.
tablet
Okay.
thing was in.
So, the city administrator is going to work on this, get back with everyone. Just keep in mind to try to keep your calendar open so we can get as much done or as close as we can with the short time that we have.
So I'm assuming there'll be another public meeting.
Yes.
So we have to be sure on the timelines on that public meeting, and get everything done, so, all right.
Okay, so we'll end with comments. Alderman Small?
I don't have any. Everyone, it's summertime. Everyone's out and about. Just be safe. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for coming and being here. I also want to thank our police department, our fire department, and our public works department as well. I know, guys, that we are working very hard to try to get this stuff situated, and we're going to do our best to try to make sure everything is fair. And that's also with our IT department as well, and all our departments here in the city of Fayetteville. You know, my mom and daddy always told me growing up that you're only guaranteed 2 things in life. And one of them's going to pay taxes, and I think everybody else knows what the other one is. But what we want to try to do is try to do what's greater good for our citizens and our people the best that we possibly can, and the people that work for the city. So, thank you.
Alderman Martinez.
I'd like to say thank you to the new hirees for the fire department. Congratulations. Thank you for joining the team. Thank the police officers, and exactly what Jacob said. Thank y'all for your services, but we're not leaving out any departments, including Parks and Rec.
And
I'd like to say, we'd like to take care of it. We came to this, I came open-minded, and the whole time I've said, we need to take care of the low and paid employees. We're losing them, we want to keep them, our retention is high, and the whole thing about this is keep y'all here in town. We don't want to lose you. And have a safe summer.
Alderman Bryant.
Yeah, I appreciate all of our hard workers, our departments, everybody that goes out there and works. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
I think I want to say the same thing they've all said. I'm glad there was such a good turnout tonight, and I appreciate all the employees. Congratulations to new employees. Congratulations to those who got certificates tonight.
Pretty much the same thing. Congrats, guys. Glad to have y'all on board. Congratulations to the policemen that were recognized here tonight. And just thank you to all the employees of the city.
I would just like to say thank you to everyone, to the firemen, to the police. All of our employees are important to us, and I want us to always remember we've got to take care of them, but we also have to take care of the taxpayers. It's on their backs. So we've got to keep them in mind. When you ran for this job, you didn't expect it to be this hard, but you've got to work to do the right thing. So if we just do the right thing, keep that in mind, I think it will take us far. Thank you, and we will see you next month. This meeting is adjourned.